Welcome, everybody, to Nothing Less Than Extraordinary. I got the beautiful Marla Press with us. Welcome on the show, Marla.
Thank you so much for having me, Ree. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. You just makes me want to laugh. I don't know. It's something about
We
your
hit it off
energy.
so well the first time we spoke. We just had this connection. And that's
Yes.
one thing I talk about, which we'll get in later. But what makes this chemistry? What makes you connect with people? And sometimes you can't put it into words. It's your energy. But we got it going on, girl.
Yeah, we do. We do. Look at that. I love it. I just have to compliment her. Doesn't she rock wearing red? You really carry the red lipsticks and the red outfit very well. Not everybody can carry it, but you got a magical touch. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So on today's topic, we're going to be talking about the topic, and the title of today is Don't Wait, Speak Up Now. And that really carries across every aspect when it comes to relationship, career-wise, and you name it. And we're going to dive into that. So before I do that, let me do a brief intro to do justice to my beautiful Marla. So Marla has a degree in psychology with years of graduate level. She has developed her own experiential exercise and movement therapy. Marla is a coach for men, women, and couple, and art of feminine present, which she loves, and art of masculine presence teacher, a public speaking trainer, and has worked with company on equity and inclusion. Her personal commitment is to provide you with accountability, understanding, life-changing exercise, and support while coaching you towards lasting growth. And I want to be able to thank you because there's so much that needs to be done in that, and we'll dive into that. But before we do that, because this podcast is called Nothing Less Than Extraordinary, which is highlighting your life story. So tell us a little bit about your childhood, how that was like.
Oh my gosh, can I start when I was 3?
Wherever you want.
Oh my gosh. So, relationship, as you know, is so important, and we all struggle with it, right? Some people have great relationships now, but we've all been on this relationship journey. And I hope that my journey will help a lot of people out there that can relate to parts of it and can say, oh, that's me. And oh, I can see how I can move on from that. So I said we'll start when I was 3, because one of my earliest memories was when I was 3. And I went to knock on my neighbor's door. She had, they had a little girl that was my age. And I went to knock on the door, and she said, before, like, I can picture her looking through this glass door before she even opened the door. And she said, oh, your parents are getting a divorce. And I thought, well, I didn't know that. I'm hearing it from this 4-year-old. I don't know if it were 4 or 5 or 3, but it was somewhere in there, because I know I moved from that house when I was 5. So I think I was pretty sure I was 3 or 4.
Wow.
And it was just my next door neighbor. And I thought, oh, well, my parents didn't tell me that. I thought my dad just was on a trip somewhere, And so that was really jarring for me. And I loved my father so much. He was so down to earth. We looked the same. We're so similar. And it was really hard for me to lose him in that way, although I kept seeing him on the weekends, but it wasn't the same. Then my mother remarried when I was only 5, and I didn't really like my stepfather. And when we're that young, we're so impressionable. And so many of you probably experienced this. You get messages from your parents, and they're not the messages they're meaning to give you, but you interpret them so differently, and it stays with you for a long time.
Yeah.
So this stayed with me. And then my stepbrother, who was 7 years older than me, sexually abused me when I was only 5, starting when I was 5, and it continued for years. And I remember my mom saying at one point to someone else, I think something's wrong with Marla. She never talks, because I never told anybody. And so part of this, this podcast talk is, don't wait, speak up.
Mhm.
And there's so many ways that we need to speak up and use our voice. It could be about abuse. It could be about something we're just not happy with in our family or our relationships. But so many of us keep it inside and we don't speak up or speak out. And it causes a lot of damage, and it stays in your body, let
Mm.
alone in your emotions and in your brain for many, many years. And it affects the choices you make. So I didn't make the best choices after that.
Well, you were
I
so
have to
young.
say,
I want to be able to pause a little bit on that because it is so poignant what you said is to speak up. And you know, when you're young, it's really hard to have that courage, you know, and especially when something like this so horrific that it's being done to you, all of your system, you're under so much shock. Like we can understand, you know, but when I say about speaking up, I think that the moment when I started to use my voice, I always visualize like when I'm in a meeting, when I'm with friends, and there are things that gets blocked in my throat, like I want to say something, but then I'm like analyzing it and trying to be politically correct and can't, you know. But I realized after my phase of people pleasing and wanting to say all the right stuff, which despite all of the work still turns out to be the wrong stuff that I'm saying. So it
I don't know
really,
about that. I don't know
really
about that.
doesn't, you're wasting your time and energy. I'm not saying just to blurt any random thing. Give it a little bit thought. Don't
Yeah.
overdo it. But it's so important. It has been very powerful for me to speak up. Every time I have a thought, either when it comes to with my sibling, with my parents, with my friends, with my lover, with my children, in the workplace, wherever I go, the moment I feel that something is stuck in my throat and I want to swallow it down because I'm scared, because we got fear, right? And we don't want to be like rocking the boat or making too much wave. But I always tell myself to respect myself and to start off slow. Like it took me years, but when you speak up, you really, like you said, you free all of that distress, all of that anxiety, all of that pain. It doesn't get imprinted in your body cell, and you feel so much better and you feel proud about yourself. Ever since I've been practicing to do that, it is so liberating. So Ree has no filter, not as much as before anymore. It just blurs out,
Yay.
it comes out.
Yeah, but that's such a good point too about the connection between our voice and our physical body.
Mm-hmm.
Because, speakers, so I train speakers to be really good on stage and be good on video. And people actually do get a lump in their throat when they have to speak on a stage because it's this physical thing that wells up in you, or they get red in the face or their neck gets really red. It's connected to your body, and letting that go. People also get diseases from it staying in their body, from not using their voice. They get sick in a lot
It's a
of ways.
huge betrayal
So
to
it's
your
huge.
authentic self. Yeah.
So important. Yes. And there's many ways we can speak up. So yeah, like I said, I didn't make the best relationship choices after that. And so I struggled for years with with my own self-esteem, my confidence, and my relationships. And I'm an introvert. You wouldn't know, nobody
You wouldn't
believes me, but
notice.
I swear. So it's funny, people don't know what an introvert really is. It's not, are you friendly? It's not, are you good at a crowd? It's, where do you really need to recharge your energy? And for me, I love my alone time. I love that time to recharge, and I feel so relaxed and so in my own power. And it's really important to me. But I also, I love socializing too, but I notice I take on other people's energy when I do that. And so sometimes it's a little draining, even though people say I'm like the energizer bunny because I always have energy. But really it's somewhat draining even for me. And so I am an introvert. But when I was growing up, I really was very quiet. And, I graduated high school because I didn't have that many friends and I just wanted to get out of there. So I graduated early. I went to college early, which was kind of cool because I couldn't wait to study psychology and philosophy. So I got out there and went to the community college and did that. And then I went on to university. But none of my friends were doing that. But I just didn't really feel that connection. I was really disconnected. I went through therapy, did help.
Yeah.
It really helped me so much. And that's why I use this in my work now, is doing experiential exercises. So to me, talk therapy didn't do much. It does a little bit, but it doesn't do much. When you experience something, you transform. And it's, so instead of talking about trusting more and why don't I trust and how could I trust more, we did experiences. I went to something called LifeSpring. I don't even know if it exists anymore, and people thought it was awful because it was really rigorous, but I loved it. And we did these exercises to build trust. I won't go into the exercises, but they were amazing at the feedback we got.
Please do go into briefly. I'm just following intuition. I'm sure people are very curious. And briefly, what is it?
There were so many exercises. I went through this for years. It wasn't, a quickie thing, but here's something. Imagine this. You're in a room with I don't know if it was 75 or 100 strangers, right?
Yeah.
Never met them before. You go into this group,
and
you have to form 2 circles, facing each other. Okay, so you got a big circle facing in, and then you got the inner circle facing out. And with each person, you take turns moving one by one. With each person, you have to look them in the eyes and decide, do you want to just smile? Do you want to shake their hand? Or do you want to hug them? And imagine the feedback you're getting from every person about your energy, because there was no talking. We didn't know each other and there's no talking. It's an energy you give off. And if you give off this energy that you have a wall in front of you, or that you're not happy, or you're a little hostile, people sense it and they're not going to hug you. So it was this amazing feedback that was invaluable to know, oh, okay, this is how I come off to people when they don't know me. So that's one. Or we did exercises where we went through some childhood stuff, and we had, so the parent was standing and you're sitting, just that body differential. And someone is standing above you brings back all these memories and brings back all these feelings, because it's this power thing, right? And how do you react to power? And then there was a whole dialogue that went with it and an interchange. But, so I won't go into all that, but just to go through things like that, so powerful. And so what I did was I took exercises like that, and then I went into something called the art of feminine presence. So I'm a certified teacher in that. And that was also all experiential exercises. It's 45 different practices. And it was all about, really getting in touch with your essence and who you are, your communication, your relationships, your personal power, your spirituality, your, getting out of your cluttered mind, changing your energy, all this wonderful stuff. But if we would have just had a class like the 3 steps to do something, or, just theory, I don't think it helps people. So in my work now, I just give people exercises to transform. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, because of how it changed my life.
And I do agree that experiential really does broaden your view, and it really gives you a glimpse to so much more, because you feel it not only on a mental level, you feel it within your body and within your spiritual growth as well. And that's why it's so powerful. Depending on how people like to digest infos and stuff like that, you do a mixture of them. but some people really need to feel, need to touch the kinesthetics, and those who are visual as well. So I fully agree with you 100%. Something that you mentioned with regards to energy, it is so crucial. People are not aware. Many times I see people, they say like, how come I can't attract the right mate? And yet they got this disgusting face that just basically sends off the guys like, don't even approach me. But they don't know that they're sending off that energy. So it's so important to pay attention to it. And the only way, sometimes when we're in our own body, we're not aware. That's why it's practicing to become more and more self-aware of ourselves. But when you don't know, like doing this experience by getting people to actually decide whether they want to hug you, it really gives you huge insight to what kind of energy you're putting out there. And I've seen so many of my clients, and I always say when I work with clients, when it comes to finding relationship, I work within their internal first and working on shifting that vibration and that energy level that they put out there, because what you put out is what you attract back. So
Absolutely. That's so important. And that's so true. It's almost comical with relationships, but but that's so true. It's like, why can't I attract anybody? Well, and because people think that who they are is what they've done, or
mm,
they think that the most important thing is the words they say. The
mhm,
most important thing are the biggest part of communication is energy.
mhm.
It's body language, and it's your passion, and it's your confidence, and it's this energy field that we can't even describe in words.
Yeah. A good
Yeah.
example of that, my boyfriend always says, like, when I'm processing information, I go inward, so I get very quiet. I'm always very happy all the time and talkative. But when I'm on a reflective mode, I go internally quiet because I'm actually taking in the info and really choosing my word properly. But then in my face, it sends off a signal to my boyfriend. He's like, are you mad at me? I'm like, no, I'm not mad. And so now I know in the future that when I go into my reflective mode, it sends off a certain energy to him that he, picks up on, even though they're not the accurate information that I'm getting, because I'm not the same as the average people. I always tell my boyfriend, what you use to, because he's very good at reading human being and their energy level, so he can pick it up very good. He's like a great salesman. He can
Oh,
just pick
wonderful.
you, see you, and then know exactly where you're headed. um Problem is, not everybody's built the same way, and so the trick is, I tell my boyfriend, if you think that's what the average people do, then I'm the complete opposite of that. So every time I go into this mode, I am very self-conscious, and I just slightly do a slight modification to my face, and that sends off a completely different energy, and it always makes them feel much better and safer. So just be aware of that, because sometimes we don't know, right?
That's such a good point, because there's two pieces there that are so important. One is that your energy always sends a message.
Mm-hmm.
The other is we can't always assume we understand the message. And
Yeah.
it's good then to have that feedback and that discussion. Say, well, is that what you were thinking or feeling? Or like, what's really going on with you? How are you?
Yeah.
And a lot of relationships, they don't have that kind of communication. We're on automatic pilot,
Yeah.
and we're not aware enough of what our energy is doing, and then what our partner's energy is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we make assumptions about it.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Mm-hmm.
messes us up so bad. So it's great you got that communication with your boyfriend. That's awesome.
Yeah, and just to tie off the knot with regards to that, as something that would be very helpful when it comes to relationship is avoid. I mean, humanity tend to have this assumption, because we work on autopilot a lot, is to always assume the worst in the other person, which is to stay away from it, like bad intention from the other person. So what I've learned in my relationship is the moment when you start thinking, like, let's say I ask him to take out the garbage and he doesn't do, which is not his case at all. But let's assume, because that's the average people. And then he doesn't do it. After a few reminder, you say, like he has bad intention, like he's purposely doing it. But there could be a zillion reason why on that day he couldn't take out the garbage. And so learning to be patient with your partner and learning to, I find one of the things in my relationship is when we cut off in terms of the assumption of bad intent has been extremely powerful for us as a couple, but also with colleagues and friends and family as well. When you just try to be compassionate and think like, although I don't understand it, my logic thinks something differently, but we are a different creature, and I give them the benefit of the doubt, and then you validate with them, because chances are sometimes it might be right, they were in a bad intent, but always verify first.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that goes back to the whole idea of speak up. So
Yep.
you don't assume things, whether, like you said, it could be a colleague, let alone, your partner. Don't assume things, ask questions, and validate and feedback, what you think is going on with somebody, and then have them validate it. So communication is key. It's so important. And
And
speaking up
talking,
is so important. They say we have thousands of messages that go through our head every day, right? And
something
what is
like,
it? Something
yeah,
like, I don't know the exact statistics. I've heard it so many
like
times, but
60,000 thoughts racing or more, 60 to 90,000 thoughts per day.
and 80% of them are negative.
No, it's more like 90 something percent.
I was trying to be generous, because we're so enlightened,
That's it.
your
No, I didn't
listeners
mean
and
to
us,
correct the number, but
but
just so that people know you're actually doing more than you think.
yes. And so whether it comes to thoughts about yourself or thoughts about others, there's way too much negativity in there. So it's really important to be aware of what your mind's doing. And then how I teach people to communicate is to get out of their minds and communicate from their belly, let's say. I call it their home space, your gut. Your gut knows more than your head. It
Yeah.
really does. It's, we have more serotonin in our gut. There's much more happening. It's really your brain is in your stomach. It's not in your head. And so if you communicate from that place and your heart space,
Yeah.
those two places connected create amazing communication. And that's true whether you're in a relationship with your partner or whether it's getting a potential client or whether you're on a big stage. It's communicating from this place, not in this cluttered mind, that makes all the difference in how you relate, how you feel about yourself, and how you bring people in and get them to connect to you.
Yeah.
Build trust.
Your psyche is telling you often lies. We think they're telling you the truth, but they're telling you lies because they're scared. They want to protect you. But just because they want to protect you doesn't mean that they're actually doing what's best for you. So be aware of that. And coming to this, I want to be able to launch, because you had mentioned with regards to speaking up, it is so important to be able to do that, to the ability to speak up, to stand up for yourself. It's something that I don't think as a child that I was told to do that. I was always told to be the quiet one, to be the polite one, to say nothing, don't make any wave. It's a fucking lie.
Keeping you in your
People,
place.
wake up, speak up.
Yes, absolutely. And don't wait.
Yeah.
Speak up now. Yes, so
Exactly.
important. Speak up to yourself. Tell yourself the truth. Speak up to your partners. Speak up at work. Speak up to potential clients. It's really important to speak up. And you're right. We're not conditioned to do that. We're not. Nobody is. We all grow up. Doesn't even matter, what culture or what country you're from. Whatever it is, we still get that same kind of, kids, especially little kids shouldn't speak up and keep it to yourself, or don't hurt anybody, or don't say anything if you don't want to be ridiculed, or there's so many negative messages we get about that.
Yeah, we're still the exact same child, just in an adult body. So you need to you need to reassess all of those lies that's been told to you. And you think part of it is your own belief, but it's not. It's been passed on from generation in generation, society expectation, authority, teachers, parents, all of these people who are telling you you're supposed to be a certain way. So like Marla said, really don't wait and speak up. And talking about speaking up, tell us about what you do and your business, because it is so crucial for people to be able to learn about this, because that really gives them the power and to tap into that strength that they have inside, Marla.
Yeah. So I find kind of two things happening out there, and especially in the past few years. One is there's people with amazing stories and
Mhm.
they can inspire and help so many people,
Yeah.
but they just don't speak up because they're afraid they'll get emotional about it. They're afraid nobody cares. They're afraid they can't really help people. And so they put it off and put it off and put it off. And then there's another group out there. They're out there speaking, and you have a great message. You're helping some people, but you haven't really learned the speaking skills
Mhm.
to speak up, to keep people's attention, to excite people, to fire up your audience, even if it's one person or many. And there's very specific skills that help so much with that. So what I do is I help people build what I call their wow factor, their entertainment, how you keep attention, how you get people excited and have them feel something and give them an experience,
Mhm.
because we don't want more information.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with information,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to stand out in the crowd.
Mhm.
And we almost can't take in more information. We want a connection and an
Mhm.
experience. And
Mhm.
that's gotten more so even over just the past few years
Yeah.
than it's ever been before. And so I hope you get that, keep that interest, and also build trust.
Mhm.
Because if you're just out there in performance mode and you're rah rah and you're just almost yelling at people, I've seen that where
Mhm.
even experienced speakers, everything is at that level.
Yeah.
And people, it's okay for some, but
Mhm.
most of us
Mhm.
don't feel trust and connection when someone is at that level. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, right? It may not be, it might just be,
I get, no, it makes perfect sense. You need to exaggerate to drive the points home.
So, it's so important to have that balance, and it's hard to
Mhm.
find. How do you balance your excitement and your
Mhm.
wow factor and entertainment with building trust and getting people to connect with you and want to work with you?
Mhm.
So that's really, really important. And I do that through these experiential exercises. I don't do it through theory and talking about it and
Mhm.
giving you steps to do something later.
Mhm.
It's all, let's do this together in the moment, take you through these energetic exercises.
Mhm.
And they're not real woo-woo. Some people think of energy as,
Mhm.
things that a lot of people don't relate to that. It's
Yeah.
very practical exercises that
Yeah.
just transform you like that. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm. Very amazing. And what like if let's say a client comes to you, Marla, what is the one or two tip that they can actually instantly apply or take away that can help them start like heading in that right direction? Like, what are one or two things that you can share with the audience, those who are terrified to be on stage or who are kind of speaking on stage, but not really sure what they're doing? So help them out here.
Absolutely. So the first thing is to get grounded.
Mhm.
And, I see people come out and either they speak so fast that you get lost
Mhm.
because we're almost conditioned to speak fast.
Mhm.
But if you speak, 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 people can't take it in.
Mhm.
And so you have to slow it down. And
That's
some
me.
people,
Like I speak super fast. It's like the more nervous
well,
I get, the faster it goes.
yeah, yeah. The more nervous people get, the
Mhm.
faster that they speak, then they don't breathe. Then, they get all flustered, and then energetically they're kind of in this mode like, "Ah," and it comes across to other people.
Yeah.
So the first thing is to get grounded. And I
Mhm.
take people in my classes through this long-ish 15-minute, let's say, exercise
Mhm.
where you get completely not only grounded, but
Mhm.
embodied in your full body presence. I
Mhm.
call it your presence, that you're speaking from this home space, and this heart space. And so I take you through the exercise, but just to do real briefly, just think about in your mind, you've got your to-do list, you've got what just happened, you've got all your past experiences, you've got what you're going to say next, it's what's going to happen, how it's going to be affected by what you do now, all this clutter. And so when you get your energy out of your headspace and really ground it inside your body, not just in your feet, but in your whole body, magic happens.
Yeah.
And
You feel
it's
the
not
shift.
yeah, you can feel the shift in yourself. It happens in seconds when I take people through this exercise. It's immediate. And so you're calmer. And then you also, people can come into you more. They can be drawn in. If we're taught to be givers. We're not taught to be receivers. But I teach people, think about receiving your audience, really making it two-way. I can't see all the people that are watching and listening right now, but I feel them. I imagine them out there and I energetically receive them, because that's what makes it really special, instead of, I'm just talking at a camera. And so you want to let go of that, because that freaks a lot of people out too when they have to do video. That's even worse than being in person. They to speak to the camera is so hard.
Yeah.
But think of it as, it's not a camera. There's people out there. There's real people listening and watching. And it's so important to make that intention of connection. So it's the grounding and it's the intention of the connection and receiving them energetically. That would be the first two things I could say.
Those are great tips. They're very, very good tip. If you can start just practicing that, as I was listening to you, I was visualizing it and seeing it. It's very, very amazing. Honestly, I could see myself doing it, calming myself down, getting out of my head and really just coming back to my body and staying completely grounded. You're much more confident, you feel lighter. And so when you feel lighter, you feel more confident in terms of the message you're about to deliver. And the second thing that you had mentioned with regards to, oh, my mind here is going through, but the second approach is actually quite something that I really much enjoy. It's
the intention and then receiving the audience.
The receiving part, receiving the audience, imagining the audience. They always say the best way to go and get something to become rich or to live rich or to visualize is to use your imagination as if it's already happening to you now. A lot of a lot of billionaires, successful people, what they do is they don't wait for the day when they're actually going to make their million. They're living their life as if they're a millionaire right now in whatever shape and form that comes to them. So do that, because we have this gift called imagination, and it's quite powerful. And the ability to experience that, to imagine a huge crowd, their energy level, that's going to hype us up. And then so when you see that, it gives you the confidence to deliver your message in a way that when you're just in your head, that you can't actually be able to tap. So those are very, very powerful tips. Thank you so much, Marla, for that.
Yeah.
So we're coming close to the hour. I also want to be able, yeah, I know. We can talk on forever.
I got so many more tips. Wait a minute.
It's so good. Like I can talk to you like forever. She is the sweetest, and I just that smile and that beautiful white teeth is just like I can just stare at those teeth all day long.
That's funny.
I want to also be able to use this platform to really celebrate some of the programs and things that you have happening right now. So we're going to be able to launch this in about 7 to 8 weeks. But what is out there? Like, first of all, let's start with your website, how people can actually website or whatever that they can reach you, and what is happening right now that would be beneficial for people.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. My website is really easy. Couldn't be easier. It's just my name, marlapress.com. So easy to remember. And there's so much on there because I do the Art of Feminine Presence classes. I do life coaching, but my main focus is helping you, no matter what your business is or what your message is, or even if you work for someone else, speak up. So a lot of people don't even speak up in a meeting when they're at work. If they're on a
Yep.
team, they don't speak up. If
Mhm.
they're a leader, they don't speak up to their team. They just, they have all the logistics, but they don't really communicate. And so
Mm.
this helps in so many ways.
Oh,
And I always
absolutely.
have my one-on-one coaching. So you can always do one-on-one with me. And I offer free initial chats so that you can, get to know me a little bit better, maybe try out one of my exercises.
Mhm.
And then I have programs that may or may not be starting right when you're airing this, but they do happen somewhat often. And those are, I have a 6-week boot camp.
Mhm.
That boot camp is all exercises where we go through how to communicate better, how to change your energy, how to build trust, how to be entertaining. And this helps with your spouse. It helps with everything you do. So
Mhm.
it's really powerful. And then if you really want to be an expert speaker, I have a 6-month program that involves the boot camp for 12 weeks. I
Mhm.
bring in guest speakers, and then we also do one-on-one coaching along with that, because having both is really, really helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it begins with the energy and the communication that will help you in all aspects. And then we get into more things like your compelling story and how to write your pitch and your body language. One of my favorite things to do is work on people's speaking persona, because what happens is a lot of people, they're not themselves when they speak. They are one person when they're with their friends and family. Then they get on a stage or in front of a camera and they become this serious person, or they're always joking because they want to be liked. And, that's not who they are either, or they just don't know how to be bossy and powerful. And some of that is necessary too. So we look at all the aspects of speaking personalities and how you can tweak it a little bit, not become someone else, but tweak what you have going on, your authenticity, and make it really special.
Oh my God, that was really good. Yes, it's all about making it real and making it authentic. Your message is unique. There's no one like you. So once you are able to craft that art and perfect it, you're unstoppable. So I love what you said, Marla. It's beautiful. I always end my podcast on a beautiful quote that has served you well in your lifetime, either in the past or in the present. What is that one quote that you love and would like to share and inspire people?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. It's hard to pick just one, but everyone has a story, and it's really, really important to tell your story, whether you tell it to your sister or your friend, or
Mm,
you tell it to the world. It's important to bring those stories out, because we all have a story. Every one of us, we have multiple stories.
yeah.
And it's so important to share them,
Hmm.
and you'll see that it makes you feel better,
Yeah,
and you're going to help a lot of people. And
absolutely.
if I did a short quote, this would be my short quote that I think is really fascinating.
Mhm.
It's everything's up for grabs. And what that means is you have so many opportunities in front of you. You can grab them. You can grab that one over there. Everything's up for grabs. Don't limit yourself. So that's another one of my favorites.
I love it. It's beautiful because there's nothing it's gonna stop you. It's yours for the taking. It's all out there. There's enough abundance out there. There's
Yeah.
enough thing happening. So go and take what belongs to you. And with this, it really speaks well to don't wait, speak up. It is so important. Embrace it, have courage, and just give it your best, little baby step at a time. On that note, Marla, such a precious time with you. I
Oh, thank
thank
you
you
so
for your
much.
presence, for your energy, and I know the audience is going to enjoy this. To everybody, have a great night, and we'll see each other on the next podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.